Good evening, I'm Mark Ivy. Welcome to the latest edition of Kernels from the Cornfield. No huss, no halls, no shucks. News with a dash of commentary to spice up your fare for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2014. Wars in? President Barack Obama in a press conference in Poland alongside Polish President Bronislaw Komorowski defended negotiations with the terrorist Haqqani network using the Arabian Peninsula country of Qatar as a go-between, which led to the release of Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl at the end of this past week, as what is done between combating forces when a war is ending. While the U.S. may be stopping its combat mission in Afghanistan, there is no sign of the war coming to a close with Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda-aligned terrorist organizations around the world. By declaring this similar to prisoner swaps at the end of previous wars, the complaint is the president is conferring a status on terrorists akin to a recognized state. So are we to presume the president views Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and the Haqqani network sovereign states unto themselves? Are peace treaties being forged in secret with once terrorist, now state entities representing these fearmongers and terror-inspired organizations? Is this the same as what occurred at the end of wars past with sovereign states? Broken law or above the law? While technically, as CNN senior legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin noted, the president did break the law by not informing Congress on the release of the 5 Taliban top-tier prisoners from Guantanamo Bay. There is great leeway, according to past Supreme Court rulings and constitutional scholars, in the president acting as commander-in-chief. While both Republicans and Democrats, including Senate Intelligence Committee Chairwoman Dianne Feinstein, a powerful Democrat, may grouse about the president's actions, it is doubtful the Supremes will intervene, nor that Congress will do much more about the president acting illegally. The president did admit in that news conference that there is a high likelihood of the 5 prisoners released rejoining the jihad against the U.S. and American military personnel. I'm still mulling over the whole scenario concerning the release of Bergdahl and of the president's actions. There are so many shades and layers to this story, with stories inside of stories. I will put my full thoughts down as soon as I can formulate a clear, articulate perspective on the issues in concern, which can be read from thecornfield.com. Foreign policy? Read my thoughts about President Barack Obama's speech at West Point Military Academy commencement at FromTheCornfield.com. Dud foreign policy speech lands with a thud. Army will investigate. Bergdahl is still being treated in a medical facility in Germany. It is not known yet how soon he will be transferred to Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. Over the last 24 hours, the displeasure of former comrades in arms who served with Bergdahl in Afghanistan is getting louder and louder. The president in Poland weighed in on the outcry about exchanging 5 Taliban prisoners for Bergdahl's release, saying that it was the right thing to do. He said that whether Bergdahl was a deserter or not was not relevant. America's tradition was to leave no man or woman in uniform behind by the nation at the end of wars. Secretary of the Army John McHugh stated that once Bergdahl is treated, an investigation would launch to determine if the soldier was hero, deserter, or traitor. As I noted in Monday's Kernels, many are asking, at what cost freedom? Where's the parity? 2 12-year-old girls are being tried as adults in Wisconsin after taking another 12-year-old girl out into the woods and stabbing her 19 times. The victim is in the hospital and recovering. Reportedly, the delinquents were attempting to curry the favor of a fictitious online character, Slender Man, by killing the other girl. That the girls thought that the fictitious Slender Man was somehow real rather than a creation for a website fiction writing site begs one to ask, where's the parenting? I recall when Kev, my youngest son, was growing at a very early age. I would talk to him about the difference between reality and make-believe, the fantasy world of pretend, and the real world of life. Whether it was nursery rhymes, bedtime stories, And moving on to cartoons, video games, television shows, and movies, I would question Kev and make sure he knew the difference between what he read or saw in those mediums and his day-to-day existence in the world of the living. I made sure Kev knew the make-believe nature of the Mutant Ninja Turtles, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Power Rangers. I would check up occasionally to make sure Kev had not become lost in a virtual world and connected to the world outside the Matrix. I'm sure Kev got sick of Dad, making sure he remained mentally stable and grounded in reality. But it worked. How could two 12-year-old girls think that a fantasy creation on a website could favor them, bless them, if only they killed another? It's raining money. Seattle, Washington has long been known to get lots of rain throughout the year. Now, it seems the city is raining money too. Monday, the city council increased the minimum wage to the highest in the nation, $15 per hour. The state minimum wage of $9.52 was already the highest state minimum in the country. Now Seattle, with its $5.48 increase, puts its fast food workers at the top of the scale for low-wage earners. But don't quit your job just yet and move to the Northwest Coast. The new wage will not take effect until 2017 for big companies and not until 2021 for small businesses. To make $10 or $11 per hour, you will have to wait until April Fool's Day, 2015. Is it the water or lack of water in California? A man hunted by the FBI was caught in San Francisco after eluding authorities for days. The manhunt started after reportedly a large cache of explosive materials were found in his home, and a suicide note was posted on his Facebook page. He could face up to 10 years in prison if convicted. Primary day in 8 states. Voters in 8 states are going to the polls today to choose a candidate to face off in November's midterm elections. The most watched race puts Republican establishment incumbent Senator Thad Cochran against a Tea Party candidate in Mississippi. Once thought vulnerable, Cochran has pulled ahead lately and may very well fend off the attack from the right. In Iowa, a temporary truce seems to be holding between the GOP establishment and the Tea Party, as both are backing State Senator Joni Ernst to face off against Democratic Representative Bruce Braley. Iowa is a state that Republicans think they can pick up on their way to capture 6 seats currently held by Democrats and regain control of the U.S. Senate. Well, that's what caught my attention for Tuesday, June 3rd. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of Kernels from the Cornfield. I'm Mark Ivy. Good evening.